And hello, spider folk. I'm Brian.
I'm Brian. Oh yeah. I'm 1, 2, 3. I'm John. This is the way.
This is the way.
The way. And this is the
This
tarantula way.
Tarantula way. Hey, a little better than that. Okay, welcome to the podcast. How are you today, John?
Pretty good. What about you?
I am feeling kind of weird today. I woke up at 6 and it was really 7, and I seem to be 3 weeks back in time because it's freaking snowing outside again.
Well,
Not happy about it.
it is winter in Michigan.
Only for another week or so. It's not supposed to keep snowing. We just had 70-degree weather not too long ago, and now it's snowing again.
Sometimes it snows in April.
Yeah, I've seen snow in June.
Yeah, no, that was just a Prince song.
Well,
Sometimes it snows.
Literally seen snow in June. Okay, so I got some kind of cool spider news here.
Okay.
That's my favorite one, so I'm gonna save that till last.
Oh, you're one of those.
Found a cool article. Where the hell did I get this from? No, I guess I just found it online.
You made it up.
No, I didn't make it up, but I think this was in People. I could be wrong though.
People like the magazine.
Yeah, People People online. Yeah,
I was about to say, do they still print People magazine?
I think they
Like,
do. I
like
could be wrong.
physical copies.
Yeah, but they're like $10-15 a piece or something.
Oh, I know.
All the magazines I see are
right, right. I saw a magazine in the grocery line, and it was $20, and
Yeah, Margarita's always looking at the cookbooks. She always, here's a cookbook for you, or a magazine with recipes in it and stuff. And she's like, here, let's get this. Here's some cool ones you could make. I'm like, no way, man. This thing's like $15.
I'll just keep eating that regular nasty food they were making already.
Right. I can get a great big cookbook for that on Amazon. Hardcover and all that. But I found a good article. Oh, I'll just read the headline. Ease your arachnophobia as we bust common spider myths from funnel webs to whitetails. So I thought this was kind of a good one. It would have been a better one to have when we did our myths and misconceptions, but it's pretty cool. I like it. So I'll read the top part of it. It says, ask a room full of people if they have a phobia, and chances are at least one, and probably more, will tell you they have a strong fear of spiders. Whether it's their long legs, their scampering movements, or the way that they seem to always be watching you, spiders give many of us the heebie-jeebies.
Wait a minute. Long legs, scampering movements, and the way they seem to always be watching you.
Yes.
Sounds like a woman I'd like to meet.
But really, when people talk to me at the reptile show and stuff, that's a lot of the things they say. I can't stand their legs. I hate the big ones. I hate the small ones. Some people don't mind the small ones but hate the big ones, and vice versa. And the way that they move, is the way some people say. So it's actually pretty accurate. So anyways, myth number 1: we eat spiders in our sleep. And I think they're using Dr. O'Hanlon to debunk these, whoever that is. I don't see anything about their qualifications, but they're a doctor, so they know everything.
I prefer to eat spiders when I'm awake.
Right. little oil, vinegar.
Right. Barbecue. Barbecue sauce.
Oh, okay, Barbie, you like to grill yours.
I put that shit on everything.
So one night when Dr. O'Hanlon was a teenager, he discovered a huntsman spider on his face, which he thought was hilarious. I don't think most people would think that was hilarious. I woke up in the middle of the night with the sudden sensation of something on my cheek, he said. Just instinctively, without thinking, I just wiped it away with my hand.
And it was a Goliath bird eater.
And in the dark, I just saw this big leggy silhouette shooting across the room. Upon retelling the story to his friends, some told him that the spider must have been drinking his saliva.
Oh my God.
The doctor says this is unequivocally a myth, and a common one. It's not real. I see a lot on the internet, some made up statistic that the average person swallows 12.3 spiders in their sleep. Again, there is nothing to this. I'm not sure where it comes from, but
How could they even determine that?
right, I know. They see people swallowing spiders when they're doing those sleep studies.
Well, maybe in the sleep study room needs to be cleaned up.
It's got, it's got they got they got infrared cameras watching you sleep and stuff. Maybe they're
Yeah.
seeing spiders going in your mouth. You think they'd be nice and try to stop that for you.
Did they hatch these spiders in the sleep
Right. Are
study?
they doing it on purpose to see how many you can swallow while you're sleeping?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Or did
so
they
spiders,
check your stomach contents after you die from all of these spiders that you
right,
swallow?
right.
12 and a half. I got it. There's another one.
Well, spiders do not look to humans to hydrate. It's a little eccentric thinking that something loves your saliva so much it wants to drink it up. This is true.
All right.
Okay, myth number 2. Funnel web spiders are the most deadly.
Now that one you hear a lot. So
Yes, but
yeah.
it is untrue. And for Dr. Hanlon said this wasn't quite true. We actually say that they're the most venomous spider, but not the most deadly. According to the Australian Museum, in the last 100 years, there have been 13 recorded deaths from funnel web spiders. I think the deadliest title goes to maybe the recluse spider over in Central America. Now, I don't think that's true either, is it? Now I got to look that up.
Yeah, me neither.
I doubt it, but whatever you say, you are a doctor.
It's probably some average cobweb weaver to somebody that a bunch of people crash their cars when they see it in their car.
Well, that was England with the false widow spiders. They thought the false widow spiders were like super deadly and killing people. I don't know how that rumor got started over there, but like there was a panic for a while there.
Right. And like I said,
False widows.
I've known people who have literally almost crashed their car because of a jumping spider.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Uh,
Even though we have the most venomous spider, we have easy access to healthcare, he said. That's because they're in Australia.
must be nice.
Myth number 3, white-tailed spiders cause necrosis. If you're particularly cautious about white-tailed spiders because you've heard their bite kills the surrounding skin tissue, there's no need to feel alarmed. It's been busted many, many, many times before.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've never heard that. I don't even know what a white-tailed spider is.
I wasn't aware the spiders had tails.
Right. Yeah, so there's absolutely nothing to it. The doc says scientists have studied white-tailed spiders extensively and found no proof that supported that myth. They've looked at the chemistry of the venom. They've gone back and looked at all medical records they could get their hands on, and absolutely no evidence. White-tailed spiders are harmless. Hmm. Oh yeah, myth number 4. Daddy longlegs are the most venomous spider. You
Yeah, oh God, I've heard that one before.
a zillion times every
Yeah,
time.
their fangs just aren't big enough to pierce the skin. But if they were,
Oh,
then
you'd be
we'd all be dead.
yep.
Yeah.
Probably seen the delicate long-legged spiders tucked in the corners near ceilings in your bathroom or living room. Uh, they've been they have often been tales of daddy long-legged spiders, including that their venom is most deadly of all, but their fangs aren't long enough to penetrate our skin. It's just a myth, says the doc. As far as we guess, it might come from the fact that daddy longlegs webs are pretty good at catching other spiders. Oh, so maybe someone has seen a redback spider caught in a daddy longleg web and thought that, it took it down because it was so venomous. But it's just that the web it catches them pretty easily.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's not the way venom works. Chances are it's actually just the web that tangled the redback and left it there. Absolutely no harm from daddy longlegs. They're not gonna eat your children. Myth number 5. All spiders are dangerous. While some spiders are venomous, of the 45,000 spider species worldwide, the doc says most are benign.
Okay. Benign and venomous is like two different. I mean,
Well, they're venomous, but their venom is harmless.
but saying they're not venomous, I mean, a lot of.
Well, no, they're venomous, but they're not.
Uh,
They're not dangerous. You know, like people
yeah,
consider a recluse dangerous,
yeah,
and maybe
unless you're a cricket.
right. If you're a cricket, you're bumming. Yeah. So, is that the last one? I think that's the last one. So, I mean, we did a podcast on this, but I thought I would
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered a lot of
reiterate
this.
again. Oh no, there's yeah. So all those same old myths, they're just not true, man.
Well, that's good to know
People are always freaking out.
because I've been trying to watch my calorie intake and I'm not sure how many calories there are to a spider, but 12 and a half a night. That's just like, sounds like a gut buster to me.
All right, so here's another story I found. Woman felt something move in her ear at 5 a.m. Turned out to be a spider the size of a nickel. Exclusive.
Okay.
It says exclusive in parentheses. I found this on People by Alex Ross. Desiree Kelly, 29, details her traumatic experience of learning she had a spider in her ear and its subsequent removal at urgent care. When Desiree Kelly woke up, oh, my printer did something weird. Didn't print half the damn thing.
Well, check back next time for the rest of the story.
Well, I just have to look through here real quick. I'll probably have to edit. Okay, so she felt something in her ear. She thought it was wax. Oh, she thought it was something else, and she swiped at it, but then she couldn't figure out what it was. By the time the urgent care opened, I had almost talked myself out of going because it was 5 a.m. I was tired.
Kind of like the feeling.
Her fiance, yeah, her fiance told her to go, so she's sitting in a waiting room, and that's when she felt it move again. It was painful. It felt like something was at the base of her eardrum at that moment. She was convinced it was wax, though. And then she started crying because it was uncomfortable, but two, she felt embarrassed.
What kind of wax does this woman have in her
I
ear?
don't know, she felt embarrassed that she figured that they were just going to tell her it was wax and that she should clean her ears.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so then they checked both of her ears, and then the nurse told her, you definitely have something in your ear.
Wax.
And casually mentioned it wasn't a moth. I didn't even think about it being a moth, she said.
Right. That's like random. It's not a moth.
Right. You can't even think it could be a moth. And then the nurse said it's curled up in the back. And that's when the fear started to set in.
It's not like just start telling her random things that it's not. It's not.
So the nurse then began to irrigate Kelly's ear with a water bottle with its tube with this tube, and they kind of set it at the base of your ear, and it sprays water in the back, and it flushes it out. And I'm holding this little bowl under my ear, and she's squirting and squirting and squirting, and the water's coming out. We're dumping the bowl, and we probably dumped it 3 times, and then she goes over to the sink to refill the water. While she's refilling the water bottle, I feel it moving at the back of my ear, and she's rushing back over to tell me, put the bowl up to your ear. Kelly adds of the moment, I watch from the corner of my eye, something black fell from my ear to my sweater. The nurse took a step back. She literally stepped back. It all happened so fast. She takes a step back and then immediately steps forward again and starts to grab at and shake at my hoodie that I was wearing. I watch something jump from my shoulder to the ground, and then I watch it crawl. And that's when I realized it was a spider. I was looking at a live spider. It wasn't small, she adds. I would say it's about the size of a nickel.
And it wasn't a moth. We reiterate, it wasn't a moth.
Right.
Because moths are usually what you find in your ear.
Right, because that's what the doctor expects to find when something
right, as a moth. Like, you imagine this.
It's them pesky moths again.
Right. Can you imagine the doctor looking in your ear and it's like you see a spider, it's like, my God, woman, clean your ears. Like, what the hell? She thought it was wax.
So apparently she posted her reaction to her immediate reaction and posted videos. She had film of herself waiting in urgent care on TikTok. And she tells People magazine the whole experience was awful. They had to give me a bag to throw up in because I was gagging. I was so traumatized.
Traumatized. There you go. Easy for
Yeah.
you to say.
I'm throwing up and watching as they're putting this clear medical container upside down over the spider on the floor. I was crying.
Did she get to take it home and keep it as a pet though? I would have.
No, she didn't want it.
I would have.
But she was fine. Now, some more of the story is cut off at the bottom. It was in text. She didn't. The nurses assured her the eight-legged creature was gone. But at one point, I read something in here where it said the spider was molting in her ear, but it didn't say that. So where did I see that? I saw that somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. It was a little blurb or something. I don't know. Can't find it now. But yeah, originally I thought it said it was molting in her ear. But so that was a big traumatic incident that went viral and it got into People magazine. So spiders could bring you some luck. Okay, and also for you horror film fans and spider fans, Shudder sets up the stage for a spine-tingling experience with Infested, a French horror masterpiece directed by some French guy. As anticipation builds.
Does it really say some French guy?
No, it says Sebastian Vanique or something like that, but I don't speak French, so I don't know how to pronounce it. The recently released poster and trailer promises a gripping tale centered around a terrifying ordeal faced by residents of an apartment building, ensnared within the walls, turned into a deadly webbed prison by an army of venomous spiders. Scheduled for release in April, this film not only showcases a unique storyline, but also highlights a talented cast, including some French people. I think this is
Some French people.
the narrative unfolds in a decrepit apartment building where Caleb, on the cusp of his 30s, finds himself engulfed in unparalleled loneliness following an inheritance dispute that estranges him from his sister and best friend. His life takes a drastic turn when his fascination with exotic creatures leads him to discover a venomous spider. The seemingly innocent fascination spirals into a nightmare as the spider escapes, reproducing rapidly and transforming his flat into a terrifying webbed prison. In a desperate bid for survival, Caleb and the other residents must navigate the deadly labyrinth their homes have become. So there's a horror movie for you to look forward to.
I'm waiting for that to happen one day when I go in my basement and my spiders have escaped and
They get out, take over.
right.
Got Pinky and the Brain spiders. They're gonna take over.
Right. I just wake up and my dog like is webbed up.
Right. Okay.
Maybe it's good that we eat them when we're sleeping, and that way we cut the numbers down so they can't take over so easy.
All right. So this is my favorite arachnid story of the week because this one involves a scorpion and not a spider. A California man says he was stung by a scorpion on his testicles while sleeping in his bed at the Venetian in Las Vegas over the holidays. Does not sound like fun.
Why did he have a scorpion down there?
Michael, yeah, see, that was my pervert. Michael,
right.
This is some weird fetish I don't know about.
Did the scorpion approve of this? Was this consensual?
Right.
I mean,
No, me too.
how old was the scorpion?
Right. We have questions. Michael Farchi said he found a scorpion hanging on his underwear after waking up feeling a sharp glass or knife in his testicles. That would be a bad way to wake up for sure. He filed a medical incident report with the hotel. Oh, this was also in People magazine. People has reached out to the Venetian Las Vegas for comment, but of course there was no comment.
You need to subscribe to People.
I just have Google alerts, and these are where the articles are at. I'm sorry.
Feel like you owe them some money.
Anyways, a California man says he was stung by a scorpion on his testicles while sleeping at the posh Venetian Las Vegas during a visit to the famed strip over the holidays. I felt like somebody stabbing me in my private area, Michael told KLAS about. I guess this happened in December. It felt like sharp glass or a knife. I went to the restroom and saw a scorpion hanging on my underwear. Although Farchi says, I didn't even ask how the arachnid got in the room, he adds. Nobody told me about any options. It was just under my cover.
Any options?
Yeah, I don't know. He thought that was an option that came with the room or something? He didn't know about it.
I don't understand what you're talking about right now.
Well, I saw a video of this guy talking, and he's kind of foreign, so I guess they wrote it exactly as he said it. Nobody told me about any option. It was just under my cover. That's an exact quote. Scorpion stings are painful but rarely life-threatening, says the Mayo Clinic. Adding younger children and older adults are most at risk at suffering complications from scorpion stings. And of course, the site of this thing needs to be considered. Your testicles contain many sensitive nerves, which can make testicular pain severe.
Really?
The clinic says. Everybody was in shock. Nobody believed. Even I couldn't believe. And that's in quotes again, too. When you check into a hotel, you expect to be safe.
You do?
Well, that's what the lawyer says.
I expect to get overcharged for everything, to not use the comforter, to maybe bring home bed bugs. I mean, I guess that's just me.
So I guess the guy, he told the people at the desk, and they acted like, oh, that's no big deal. That just they're just local pests. It happens, and they kind of brushed it off. So they didn't do anything. They didn't offer him anything. They just gave him a bill. So now he's got a lawyer, and they're looking.
I'm surprised they didn't charge him. Like, scorpion stings are extra.
Right. Me too. Something that would probably happen.
Again, I'd keep that one too. Anything that stings, bites, something, I'm taking it home. I'm keeping it.
Right. Well, I'm sorry. I'd have to kill that one after it stung my balls. I'm sorry. I'm not keeping it.
Yeah, I keep it. I'll keep it. You gotta keep it and name him like, something humorous. I don't know.
Killer.
I don't know. You gotta name it. Name it after your ex. Name it after your ex.
Name his ball.
That's what you gotta do.
Ball buster.
Right. Well, yeah, after your ex. After your ex.
Yeah, I guess that's probably close. Okay, so now I think we're going to move to our main topic today, which is feeding items, prey items you can feed your tarantulas. We're going to kind of go in depth on the different species, the pros and cons, how to keep them in colonies if you want to, and where to obtain them, and all those kinds of things. So we're going to talk about prey items, food items for your tarantulas, your arachnids, scorpions, whatever. So I guess the most popular one, the first one that everybody always mentions, would be crickets.
Hamburgers.
Yeah. Cricket burgers. Cricket hamburgers.
Crickets. The good old cricket.
No, we don't have the good old crickets anymore. We have them stupid, super nuclear charged crickets.
No, you can still find those other ones.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah, I don't like banded crickets.
Banded crickets, yeah. They kind of suck. So yes, you got a couple different kinds of crickets that you can get here in the US, in our area anyways. So we're mostly going by our information we know in our area. We know things are going to be different in places like Florida, and I believe even England.
Oh yeah, different places.
Yeah, I think they have to use the hornworms in England. They can't even use I don't know if they can't use or they won't use crickets, but I'm pretty sure roaches are out of the question there.
Yeah, I don't know about any of that.
I know a little bit. That's it.
Well, we knew you knew a little bit.
So then I should have looked this up. I don't know why I didn't look this up. There's two different kinds of crickets. The regular crickets that we always got, and then in the last 10 years or so, they've introduced a new cricket because there was some kind of parasite or some kind of disease or something was taken out all the crickets, and there was no
I
crickets.
believe it was a virus, wasn't
Is
it?
it a virus?
I thought
I
so.
can't remember. It's been a while now, and I never really looked into it that much. But yeah, there was a virus that was taking out all the cricket farms and stuff. So there's another cricket they call the banded cricket. They're hardier, obviously resistant to the virus, and they jump much higher, and they're like, unless you eat them, they're like impossible. I mean, not impossible to kill, but man, they live forever, and their chirp is like 10 times louder than the other cricket. They jump 10 times higher and farther than the other cricket. So feeding
And
is,
if they get out,
yeah,
they get in the damnedest places.
yeah, you'll never find it. You'll only hear it forever.
Right. You'll hear it
But
forever.
they never die, and it's so loud. Oh my
I
god.
caught one on the ductwork in my basement overhead. And so you know how loud it sounded all over my house.
They're echoing and echoing.
Yeah, it was echoing through. And how it got up there, I don't know. But yeah.
Because they can climb. They're like super climbers.
Right, but it's like this duct where it ended up, it didn't touch the wall. It had to climb up and get to the ceiling and then maybe drop down on it. I don't know.
But that's what they do. They climb to the ceiling. I've seen them on the ceiling before. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah, so okay. Pros and cons of crickets.
Right. Rant. End rant.
Right. Uh Crickets are readily available. Like you can get them just about anywhere, at least in our area. We're in the Detroit area.
Exactly. And the
The Midwest area, they're pretty easy to find at any kind of pet store, chain pet stores, mom and pop chain pet stores. Pretty much exotics are big enough now that everybody has crickets for sale. Now, how much you pay for the crickets, there's another story.
right. Yeah. And it can be wildly different too.
Well, if around here, if you go to a chain pet store, they charge you, I think, 16 or 17 cents per cricket.
Yeah, something like that.
But if you go to the more mom and pop or more pet store more designed for exotic pets, they have better deals on crickets. You can get if you buy 50 or 100 at a time, they give you much better discounts on them than buying like a dozen. You'll pay more for a dozen than you will for like 100.
But the chain ones are the only ones that I found in our area that still have the house cricket. So it's like the only one that I see with that right now.
Oh, really?
That's the only place I find them.
Oh, the
Not
mom and
just
pop places aren't doing those crickets anymore.
I just see bandit crickets.
I think the crickets I got at the reptile show were
And they're bandit.
were they
Yes.
that the new guy after Dave now?
Yes.
I
Yes.
thought they were.
Trust me. No, trust me.
It's been a while since I got crickets from. I can't
They're
remember.
bandit. Damn it. They're bandit. Trust
Uh,
me.
I don't know how other people do it, man, but when I feed my tarantulas, I have what is it, a 6 inch tall, 4 inch round deli cup. And I shake some crickets into the deli cup, and then I shake them out of the deli cup slowly into the cage until I got enough for each that I want in that cage. And obviously I stop. But so the regular brown crickets, you just kind of shake it around and you can tumble 4 or 5 out of them real easy without any problems. They just fall right into the cage. But with the banded crickets, you put them in the cup and you kind of shake them around and you try to drop 4 in there and 3 of them jump out of the cage. They land
Oh
in
yeah.
the cage and then they jump out of the cage before you can get the lid on it.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, this is why we don't another reason why we don't like banded crickets. They jump so high, man. It's hard to feed them like I guess the way I'm used to. I have to devise another way because it's such a pain in
Oh
the
yes, because they can touch the bottom of the enclosure and jump right out as soon as they
spring.
touch.
Yeah, they just spring. Yeah.
It's like
Yep, they hit it and they bounce like a spring and they're gone. It's like you put 4 of them in there and 2 or 3 of them they shoot out and you get the lid on. You got one in there. Now you
and
shake all the other
and
crickets.
once the lid is on, they seem like they're escape artists. I swear, because they still find if it's any type of hole anywhere, they're getting out of it.
Yeah, if they can get their head through it, man, they're pushing through it. I don't have too many problems with them escaping, but I do only when I'm trying to feed. I mean, but after I get the lid on, I don't have too many problems with them getting out. But they're just
So
yeah.
I have some containers that had custom tops, and the tops may be at the side. Maybe it'll have like a very small place, but the regular crickets never found their way out of them
Oh
ever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not so much with the bandit crickets. They're getting out.
Yeah, well, even if they can't climb like glass or whatever you got them in, they jump and then they stick to the top.
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man, like and then they're looking for a way to get out. So yeah, they're pretty crafty for sure.
So yeah,
So,
but otherwise, the pros would be definitely ease in most places, and let's say in certain areas, ease of availability.
right.
Um,
It's an
um. So yeah, that's one thing I guess.
they're
Uh,
cheap.
they're
They're pretty
they're
inexpensive in most places.
they're easy to feed, so you can make sure
They're gut
they're
loaded.
yeah. So they're easy. That's easy. I don't know that they're necessarily that easy to they don't. I mean, well, the bandit ones live a long time, but some of them, some crickets die.
Right. The regular brown crickets, I should have freaking down looked this up and wrote it down the name of it or whatever. But anyways, the common cricket that you usually get or we used to get commonly is they can die pretty easily from dehydration, too much hydration, too much humidity. Uh,
It's called the house cricket, right?
it's just the house
The,
cricket.
yeah, it's a cheetah or a Cata domesticus. It's a house cricket.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So the common house cricket, um, they yeah, they can be kind of tricky to keep. So it's good to buy a bunch and feed them off as fast as you can, but you can gut load them with some vegetables and stuff like that.
Right.
Fruits and vegetables, they'll gut load on that, and that's cool for your tarantula. Um, but they can be a little tricky if you want to try to keep a colony of them or whatever.
Well,
And
it can be done though.
yeah, it can be done, but they
Yeah.
stink.
Yeah.
They have a bad odor. They really stink.
Yeah.
And they're kind of dirty and yeah, I don't yeah, it's not roaches are a little easier when it comes to that kind of thing. They don't.
All roach species have their own odor as well, though. But
Yes, but many species like the discoids don't smell that bad if you keep everything pretty clean.
and then they have a defensive odor too, though.
Yes, yeah, they got that too, yeah. But we'll get to that. Yeah, so I guess the cons can be of crickets. It's kind of hard to keep them, and it's for most people, it's not the kind of thing that you would keep a colony of at your house so you can keep them breeding and stuff because it's kind of a lot of work to breed crickets. That's
and
why.
and they're loud.
Yes, and they're loud if you have thousands of crickets in bins or whatever. They tend to chirp together and sing and all that
And
kind
I've
of.
met people, I've met people that love the sound of crickets, and I don't mind the sound of crickets outside,
You
but in
know,
my house,
I
oh,
I I go kind of back and forth. I have to be in the mood. If I'm in the right mood, it doesn't bother me. It's kind of cool. But if I'm not in the right mood, it can be really annoying.
oh God. And it seems like one cricket is worse than a bunch of crickets. Like I
Yes,
swear, yeah, that
yes,
lone cricket in your house it annoys me.
yes.
Now I will stop at nothing to find it.
That can be fair. Agreed. Yeah. Any other pros to keeping them?
No,
The cons, it can be kind of hard to
no.
keep them. They can be annoying and loud. It's difficult to keep a colony. It's difficult and it's high maintenance to keep a colony of them. If you want to keep them breeding, you got to keep many bins going. You got to have different size crickets growing in different areas and
Yeah.
different cages and whatnot. So yeah, it can be a lot of work because you got to separate them to make the babies and then separate the babies from the others to raise them and can be a lot of work. Okay, so I think we covered crickets pretty good. So the next one it would be roaches, cockroaches. There's like 4 or 5 common breeds. You have a list.
Cucaracha. La cucaracha. Pokebole. That's
Who?
Korean.
Oh, really?
Um, so the most commonly kept in Fed roach, I think at least in the US and in most states, because there you have to check your local laws. I'll preface this whole thing. Your local laws. I know of one state in particular, but there may be others where certain species are not legal. And
Right.
then it may even be from a city town to town basis as well. I
True.
don't know. So, but I think in the US, as far as I'm aware, in most states, it's the Blactica dubia or the orange spotted roach is the most commonly used. Um, Speaking of that one per se, I mean, they're easy to breed.
Right. Most of them
Um,
agree.
they don't climb smooth surfaces. They're live bearers, which is a good thing. So yeah, the adults get decent size, so they don't have that much shell. They're not a whole lot of shell to them. So
Right. They're not real crunchy, so
yeah, yeah, they're they're very useful in that they're readily available. Like I said,
pretty easy to
depending
find
upon
them
your local,
locally or
yeah,
online.
yeah. Honestly, it's harder to find some of the rest of them and try not to find dubious. I've even
Right.
started I've even started seeing them at the chain stores, which is weird.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, I've seen some too. They're starting to keep them because people prefer them.
Right. Now, for as I think that's pros. And any other pros that you can think of, they're easy to feed, easy to keep, easy to breed. Um,
Yeah, yeah. They won't infest your house if they get out.
right, because yeah. So what usually makes a good pest species roach is a couple of things. Normally, egg layers are typically more of the ones that are gonna, infest your house. And
Hmm.
also if they can climb smooth surfaces.
Right,
Um, yeah,
because they hide in a lot of different places, a lot more places.
exactly, right. And they can get out of your container more readily, and then once they're out, they can get and hide different places better.
Everywhere.
Um, yeah. And the egg layers just drop their egg case and go, whereas the live bears, the females need a lot of food and warmth usually in order to successfully hatch the baby. So
Yeah, they got to have the conditions got to be right.
right, so they don't really, and you don't generally have to worry about those infesting your house unless you live somewhere in the tropics and you drop bananas all over the floor, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. Um,
So cons on roaches?
they can, it can be some work involved as far as cleaning. You have to clean the colony periodically. Um,
Yeah, and you
with
want to do that because you don't want to get smells and you can
flies and
flies
yeah,
and even
yeah.
maybe diseases or viruses.
You have to, as far as when you're trying to keep colonies, you have to make sure that you don't feed off all your females. That's not a good thing.
Right? You want to make sure you know how to tell the difference, which is usually pretty easy. And then, feed off your males and keep your females.
Right. Um, yeah. So other cons, yeah, they can smell, especially if you're not keeping up on the cleaning. Some
Yeah, because
people
they
have
eat quite a bit.
allergies to them.
They
Some
eat
people have
quite a bit.
allergies to them. They can
Right.
be an asthma trigger, the droppings.
Right.
So if you have asthma, you may not want to colonize roaches. Depends on what your triggers are.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, also with dubias in particular, the nymphs, if you're trying to feed them to spiderlings, um, a lot of times they just go in there and pretty much play dead, and the spiderling won't eat it. I mean, a lot.
Really, the adults too. I mean, you put them in there, and the first thing they want to do is burrow and hide. So instead of running around the cage like an idiot, like a cricket would do, they uh you drop them in, and if it's good substrate or there's something close, they'll go hide underneath something right away, or they'll start digging and burrowing to get it, to feel comfortable because they don't like being out in the open. So the first thing they're going to do is that. Then maybe later, the good thing is hopefully at night they're going to come out looking for food and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but But yeah, if you want to watch, if you want to feed your spider and watch it eat, they're not good for that. You need something that
Yeah.
moves quick.
And as far as colonies go, another word on colonies, and this will apply to pretty much all the species, I think. If there's some different ones, then I'm sure you can point it out. But um, pretty much just an enclosure like a box, plastic box, glass box, whatever, with egg crate, heat source, food source, like a source of hydration, and yeah, pretty much it. Pretty
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, you don't need a whole lot. Uh, I think red runners need a little bit of humidity to get going, so that can be a
Mm.
little tricky. You kind of have to watch that. Make sure they're ventilated good enough, or you can really get some bad problems like that. Um, but other than that, yeah, they're pretty easy to keep a colony of roaches. You just have to be careful.
And then in other states, like I know, like I mentioned, Florida in particular, I know dubias are. Last I heard, they were not legal there.
Yeah,
The roach that I think most people use as a substitute for that is the Blabberus discoidalis, which I actually, when I was keeping them, I preferred those anyway. But most people, I'm a minority in that. Most people like dubias better. I prefer discoidalis, honestly. I
yeah,
thought that the nymphs I thought were a little better as far as not just holding still. And they, to me, they bred either just as well or even better. For me, it might have been just my keeping conditions. So,
right. And if you
um,
have a big enough collection, you can keep. I used to keep the red runners, the Bladder. I used to
mhm,
keep those and the dubias. So I didn't use nymphs of dubias. I would use the red runners because
mhm.
they're softer and they're faster and they don't jump in and burrow. So I would use those for the smaller spiders, and then I was mainly feeding adult males to or large nymphs, juveniles or whatever to larger spiders.
And then there's lots of other ones. There's people that even colonize the
It is some
German
gosh.
cockroach. I've seen
Oh,
people
really?
try. Yeah, I know. I met someone. Yeah,
Oh,
and the American cockroach, the what is it? Americana.
right.
Um, yeah,
Isn't there a
it,
Chinese roach too, I think?
yeah. There's all sorts. There's lots of species of roaches, and like I said, the egg laying species are even more prolific, but they can infest your house, and if they get
Right.
out, I
Now,
know
if it
people
were
use.
like for the people in Florida, if it were me, I would just feed them roaches that are outside. I don't even know if they're really roaches, but the what are those called? The palmetto bugs.
Yeah, that's the Americana. That's the plant. The scientific is
Oh, is it Americana?
yeah, plat
Those big flying suckers in Florida?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would just use those. They're already there, so man, you just grab a couple of them and set them up, and they'll make you babies.
Well, they'll be in your house anyway, probably.
Yeah, probably. You just go outside and catch them. I don't know if there's a certain time of year they're harder to find. I don't know if in the cooler time of year or the drier time of year, maybe they're harder to find.
So, so technically, the palmetto bug, um, they call it the Florida woods cockroach, but um, it's still a roach.
It is a roach.
Yeah,
I wasn't positive it was a roach.
it is. But yeah, I was talking about Paraplaneta americana is one roach I was talking about, but
Oh,
they're they're similar. They have synonyms. So okay, that's the thing. It used to be a synonym. They've changed the scientific name now, and they've you know
oh, okay.
everything.
All right.
Okay, so now it used to be Paraplaneta floridana, and now they've changed it at some point to Eurycotus floridana, but it's been a bunch of different names throughout, and then they thought that they were, and it's often confused with the American cockroach, Paraplaneta americana, and that's also common in Florida. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's,
and they sometimes call that one the palmetto bug. So
but I'm sure there's lots of people who keep tarantulas who don't want to go outside and catch roaches.
so yeah, and then there's other species, cranifers. If they've changed, I don't know. They might have changed the scientific name. That was the death's head.
Oh, yeah, cranifers,
Yeah, and then there was
orange
the
heads,
you
death heads, and
yeah, orange heads,
blackheads.
Eublaberus posticus. Now, what I found with the orange heads is that those guys really like to chew each other up bad.
Yes, they do. They are chewers.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
But
eat the hell out of those males, man. The
yeah,
male wings and everything, they tear them all
yeah,
up. It's
yeah.
their,
But yeah, I honestly, if given a choice, I would exclusively use roaches, but sometimes it's not practical for me. But yeah.
right. All right, so I think that covers that pretty good. Next, hornworms. We see them quite a bit around here, but I believe in Europe, that's about all they can use in Europe. And I think they call them gummies. I think Canada too. They use them a lot in Canada. But the great big green worm caterpillar looking thing.
That's a very
They turn
scientific
into a moth,
description.
don't they?
I, I believe so.
They're a larva for a moth. So they are like a great big caterpillar. They're a big, squishy, soft,
Yeah,
slow,
it's a
cool.
five spotted hawk moth. What it
Yeah,
turns into.
yeah, hawk moth. That's right. Yep, that's what I thought.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's a really cool looking thing. If you don't know what they are, look it up. Just look up hornworm. They're really cool looking. They have a cool like turquoise color.
I know there's a hornworm that'll get on your tomato plants. I know that. I'm not sure if that's the one in the same, but yeah.
I believe it's the same thing. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I believe it's the same thing, or maybe a slightly different species or something. But I believe it's pretty close. I think they call them tomato worms too sometimes.
Yeah. What I've found with those is that some of my tarantulas won't eat them.
Yeah, they're slow moving, and the tarantulas are like, "Whoa, are you food? What are you?" They go to attack it, and it stops moving. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then when it
I've
starts
run
moving
into that.
so slow, they're not sure if it's the wind blowing or or what's going on there. So yeah, they just kind of they go to attack and then they just kind of stop, like they're
Right.
frozen. It's kind of
But if
weird.
you and then the size, I would think, I don't know what they would I mean, do you ever see them really small as far as for
Yeah,
small enough for a
yeah.
spiderling? For spiderlings though?
No, for juveniles, like maybe inch and a half and up. I've seen them. Maybe you can get them sometimes small enough for that, but not for like spiderlings. I don't
Right.
think. No,
Right.
spiderlings are better off with crickets or nymph roaches.
As far as I've read that they were very nutritious and everything like that for them.
Oh yeah,
And
they're
they
fat.
seem and they're big, so it seems like they get
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
one's a good meal. Yeah,
yeah,
for most of them.
yeah.
Yeah, real
But
good meal for your tarantula, and
so
you
that's
have to feed them as
pros.
often. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
definitely a pro. You don't have to feed them as often. They are a bit more expensive. Um, they're pretty readily available. I'm pretty sure you can get them anywhere online. But if you're in the colder areas, that's can be difficult sometimes for shipping. Um,
Right.
but I think they're fairly readily available now, more than they were before in the older days. But yeah, now I see them pretty often. I think I see them at every reptile show I go to, and most of the pet shops that I see, except for the chain stores. I don't know if they have them.
I haven't seen them there yet. I don't think.
Yeah, the only real con I know of it. Well, you can only keep them for so long, and then it turns into a moth. So
And that may end up in your ear. So you just never know.
right, you never. And then if you buy like they usually sell them in cups with quite a few in there, like 25 or so. So if you buy smaller ones, you got to make sure you have the food or whatever to feed them, or at least that it comes with the food that they can eat, so they can keep growing nice and fat like that, and they grow pretty quick, so they grow really fast. So yeah, you can only keep them for a certain amount of time. You got to feed them off. I don't know. I've never used them on a large scale, so I don't know how much waste you could have with those.
Yeah, I
Uh,
haven't either.
and I don't know. trying to do your own, I have no idea how that would go.
Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of moth breeding.
Right, that would yeah, probably take a course or something.
I'm not really
Well,
sure.
yeah, there people do sustain their collections on these solely these, I think. So if they don't have babies, so I think it is a viable source.
Yeah, that pretty much covered that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So while
Uh,
we're still on larvae worm type deals, the next one for me would be mealworms or superworms.
right. Those are real common,
Yeah,
easy to come by. You can get them anywhere at shows, pet stores, online.
keep them in your refrigerator.
Yeah, keep them in your refrigerator.
Well, these are mealworms.
Right.
Yeah, I believe, don't they turn into a beetle that the tarantulas don't like?
Yep, they turn into a beetle. The tarantulas want nothing to do with them, but they will live. They will live in there and not really bother your tarantula. If you feed them what they need, they'll live in there for a while.
Again, I've run into the same problem with them. Some of the tarantulas, less with them than the hornworms, but still, some of them won't eat them. I've run into
Right.
that same
There's
thing.
kind of a roach problem with it too. I mean, a problem similar to roaches where they like to burrow.
Right.
So they burrow and hide and then stop moving right away. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Pros though,
distract.
readily. Yeah, they're readily available. They're easy to store. They don't really
Yep.
smell.
Right. Right. Easy,
Yeah, they
easy
got a
to
lot going for them.
eat and whatnot. And they don't need
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, they got a lot going for them. It's just if the tarantula eats them, and also again, spiderlings. I don't think it's appropriate food for like the smallest spiderlings.
No, but you can cut them up and feed them to them. They will eat
Hmm.
pieces,
No, okay.
which you can do with crickets as well. If you have a cricket that's too big, you can cut up pieces and feed it to them. Most times they'll eat it. They'll find a
Long as
piece.
you have a sharp knife.
Right. And then if you don't see them eat it, they will pick it up and eat it if they come across it. But if it's in there too long, then they won't. So you got to check and leave it overnight or whatever if you don't see them eat right away. But the next day, take it out and try again. Get the spider closer. Drop it closer to the spider. Make sure he's available to eat it right away. It's easier that way. If it's not,
Right,
it's just gonna mold and get nasty. So you got to take it out fairly early.
right, right.
Um, yeah, and then you got, different sizes. You got mealworms and superworms. So the superworms are bigger for the bigger tarantulas and whatnot. Uh, yeah, readily available. I mean, there's mostly just pros for that one. Any cons? Well, the con is that they burrow, and
Yeah,
sometimes not all
yeah.
tarantulas, but otherwise, it's a pretty good one. Then we got earthworms.
Again, same. It's almost the same thing as far as pros and cons go. I mean, earthworms. If your tarantula will eat it, because a lot of them won't. But
Right. Most times you got
if
to drop it right next to the tarantula, so when the worm starts moving to burrow, it can get snatched up. They take a little longer to burrow than a mealworm, so you got
and
to
then
let
when
them.
they eat them, when they eat them, it's weird because they're eating part
Yes,
of it, and the worm is still moving around
the
over
worm's still
here.
moving. Yeah,
It's
wiggling
really
and
weird.
squirming, or it's trying to get
Yeah,
away the
yeah,
tail
it's
and
really weird.
get away, and yeah, it's kind of weird to watch. Um, I don't know if they're readily available like in most places. There's a lot of fishing here, so earthworms are
You're
pretty
right.
fine in Michigan because there's a lot of lakes and fishing. There's a lake every 3 miles, so there's everybody sells worms. Party stores, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Walmart, you can get them everywhere.
Walmart, Meyer, everywhere. Yeah.
They are pricier though, but it is a pretty big meal for most tarantulas, so you don't have to feed them as often. And
And
then,
then
keeping your own colonies, I don't think that's really an option. I
then
think,
there's yeah. Well, no, people do.
yeah, but
You
they
know,
have farms for this where
right? People
put
do. We
outside.
just
So
compost and yeah, people do it.
I guess you could do it, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
stinky for an indoor type thing.
Well, no, yeah. You do it outside,
Compost.
maybe.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, but what do you do in the wintertime?
You bring them in.
That's there's where the stinky starts.
Bring 'em in. Look.
Oh, and then talking about feeding your smaller spiderlings, actually, fruit flies.
Oh yeah, fruit flies.
readily available. You can get them at chain stores, you can get them at mom and pop stores, you can get them at online, anywhere online. You can have them shipped to you. They're easy to get. Um, you can buy online. You can buy kits, so you can just keep colonies going. You can get a kit and get all the food and everything you need, and you can just make your own colonies and keep them going.
Yeah.
So
And I've used to read, I don't know if this still circulates because I'm not on the internet a lot, but it used to circulate a story that said that wasn't enough nutrition in a diet completely of fruit flies to raise a spiderling, but I've debunked that myself.
yeah,
Yeah, you can definitely do it to get them to a size where they're eating something different.
yeah, you just got to get them to molt once or twice.
Yeah.
If they need fruit flies, they're a pretty small spider, mostly dwarf spiders, dwarf
Oh,
tarantula.
exactly. Exactly. So,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, so that's the only the only cons on that is you got to be careful. it's it's pretty easy to like let a bunch of them out.
So around here, I'm not sure about the rest of, again, but around here, you can get wingless fruit flies and you can get flightless fruit flies, which are different. It's a whole different, they're two different species.
Yeah, flightless and
The wingless ones are a morph. It's like a morph,
right,
and eventually, trust me, after breeding them so long, that you'll start getting the ones with wings. You open up the container and they fly out.
right. Yep, I've heard.
Now the flightless ones are just like that. They have wings, they just don't really fly.
Right.
But those I think is a Trinidadian species maybe. And they don't breed as fast as the straight Drosophila melanogaster, I think, is the ones that, and that other one, the wingless, is just a morph of that. And
Right.
so eventually something happens, and you'll get winged ones in there, and
Nature takes over again.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Jurassic Park. Nature finds a way. That's
Yeah.
what I've had happen with that. Then there's vertebrates of all sorts.
Uh, Next on the list would be toads, frogs, and lizards.
Frog and toad are friends.
Right. They don't eat each other, but spiders like to eat them.
No, it was a children's book when I was a kid.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
No, okay.
So I like to feed like little anoles and small frogs, like cheap frogs to spiders. I think it's fun. And they eat that stuff in the wild.
That's fun.
It's fun.
Okay. Something
Well,
I'm gonna look.
half the attraction of owning animals is feeding them, isn't it? I mean, that's the exciting stuff. That's what everybody posts on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and everything, feeding videos, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not. I feed them. I don't think I get enjoyment out of feeding them. I feed them because they have to eat.
It's fun watching them attack their prey and stuff. I think that's half the part of the allure is feeding them live prey.
No, not for me.
Well,
Mm-mm.
I really like to watch them eat a lizard
Yeah, no,
or a
doesn't
frog.
do
They,
anything for me.
they do enjoy things that are very green. They
I
go right.
remember when I was a kid and I got my first like predatory fish. Like I used to keep goldfish all the time and I got like predatory fish, and at the
Yeah.
time the pet store told me that only thing I could feed them was goldfish and I didn't know any better, and that you could actually feed them other stuff. And when I fed them the first goldfish, dude, I cried so many nights.
You're one
Just
of the sensitive children, huh?
yeah, it's just not me. I don't like to kill things.
I don't necessarily like to kill things, but I like to watch other things kill things, I guess.
Well, then aren't you really like kind of killing them by proxy or something?
I mean, yeah, but you got to remember that that's why they're here, to be
Oh
food.
yeah, no, I mean I understand the whole
And now I know it's hard for kids.
yeah, I understand the whole circle of life. I saw the Lion King.
All right, let's sing Kumbaya now. Um, but yeah, I don't know. To me, it's a fun thing, but it can be expensive. So you got to look for cheaper stuff. Or if you live in, say, like Florida or something, you can just grab house geckos and feed them to them and stuff. Um, yeah, and frogs are fun too. They really like frogs. They like most tarantulas will eat anything that's green like right away. If it's bright green, it's going right after it.
Do they see color that way?
I don't know, man, but if it's green, they're going after it. It's weird. Green frogs, those cheap green frogs or
Mm.
green tree frogs or whatever they are, they'll go right after them things, man. And green anoles. Brown anoles, they don't seem to get as easy. I mean, they don't seem to sense them as fast, but green anoles, they go right after them. It's like, and then like that brings us to like the next thing, like leaf insects and mantids. You can feed them those too, and they're green. They go after them right away.
See, those
Eh,
guys to me are too cool. They're like friends, not food.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, I mean, I like unless you get one that's like you because in the late fall, late summer, early fall, it starts to cool down. You can see they're like dying and stuff. So if they're still moving, sometimes I'll try to feed them to something because they're gonna die anyways. Put them out of their misery, but I don't like to do that. I know people do it though.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, leaf insects and mantids and stuff. Those things are cool as hell. I'd rather keep it as a pet.
Yeah, for sure. They're very,
And then
very interesting.
yeah, for sure. And then there's the whole wild caught prey versus, captive bred prey. So with that, you just got to be careful where you collect from, I think.
So yeah, here's my thing, and I know, and I don't know how much research has been done on it, and maybe if somebody out there is amongst our couple of listeners has any more information or maybe links or something to a study or something that's been done, but um if there has been, I'm not aware of it, but I always worry about like if I'm catching like, local captive, I mean local wild insects that what have they been exposed to, My neighbors around me use a lot of freaking chemicals. I'm like, I don't like to even go outside myself. So,
Right, right.
when was the last time they were like, bathing
Yeah,
in a
that's what I mean.
pesticide?
When you
Right.
when I say you got
I'm
to be
sorry about that.
careful, you got to be careful where you're collecting from. Now, just because you collect from a different place doesn't mean maybe they haven't been exposed, but
Exactly.
generally, if I'm looking for large prey items, I'll go to a place like a state park or something where there's a lot of woods and stuff and catch the stuff and then take it home and eat it. I don't generally grab stuff out of my backyard.
Then I wonder also about, I don't know how much research or if any has been done on, uh, you know, possible parasites or things like that, parasitic organisms that might be in stuff. I don't really know. So I always wonder about that. Now, on the flip side of that, I know that, yeah, you can gut load any of your feeder animals that you buy
Right, right.
captive, but when they've been eating out in the wild, it just seems like seems like they'd be full of a lot more,
Nutrients.
variety of things. Yeah, nutrients and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, you would think that, but I just, I wonder. So if anybody knows of any research, let us know.
I mean,
Contact
I would
us.
say that's why you're gut loading your captive bred stuff is because they're not out in the wild eating. I mean, if they're in
Well,
the
yeah.
wild, that's what they're doing. They're eating. So they're full. I mean, if they're leaf eating insects and that kind of thing,
Well, yeah.
you know they got a gut full of, stuff they enjoy to eat and stuff that's good for them versus the captive bred stuff you have I mean, you got to gut load it and make sure you're feeding it the right stuff and maybe that laboratory design food isn't as good as the natural stuff
I'm
outside. So,
sure it's probably not.
right. And you're getting the basics and that's about it.
All right.
Look what people have done with dog food now. I mean, now people are like, they're selling dog food that's just blended up real food. It's,
Oh, dude,
you got to keep it, you got to keep it
don't,
cold.
yeah, don't even get me started on dog food. Oh my God.
Oh,
My
yeah.
dog
I
is,
couldn't
yeah.
imagine what it would cost to feed your dog like that.
Yeah, and then he has food allergies and
Oh
So
yeah, I
yeah,
forget.
yeah. So
You and your dog are like they're quite the pair. Let me tell
oh
you,
yeah.
you guys are both allergic to everything. How
And
a
now we're
guy
both
that's allergic to everything gets a dog that's allergic to everything.
and
I
now
don't
we're
know
both
how that
grumpy
happened.
old and now we're both grumpy old men.
Right. Yep, I can see you and your dog in 20 years, both in wheelchairs. Little
Yeah.
blanket over your legs.
And so it costs so much to feed him because he's allergic to everything and he's big and he
Yeah,
eats a
he's
lot.
gigantic.
He eats a
I
lot.
have a little dog and I looked into some of that that fancy dog food that they advertise now. Holy crap, just to feed a little chihuahua would cost me an arm and a leg.
Oh, I know.
You gotta do both legs, both arms, and I don't know, something else. A nipple
This
or
is
something
not an
to pay for that dog.
exaggeration. This is not an exaggeration. It costs more per month to feed him than it does me. I spend more on his food than I do on mine.
I believe that.
Yeah. That's not an exaggeration.
Yep, I
So,
totally believe that. Okay. The wife decided to play music.
what was she playing?
I don't know, something Spanish.
Oh.
Something I don't understand. Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps up our prey items today. I think we covered just about everything, don't you?
Yeah. If we missed something, let us know.
Did we cover mice? I don't remember. I don't have a check next to it, so just in case. Uh Mice can be a good way to go, but you don't want to get too big of a mouse. Generally, hoppers or pinkies are best, but you want something that moves pretty good. Sometimes pinkies
So
don't work real good because they just kind of wiggle. They don't move too much.
So I don't know. Again, you know how as soon as they come out with a study, then they come out with a study that contradicts that study, and then
Oh
they
yeah.
come out with another study that contradicts that study.
Yep,
But
that's science.
I remember a study some years back, maybe a decade or more back, that said that too high of a diet in vertebrates had too much calcium for inverts and that somehow the calcium interfered with the magnesium in their bodies or something, and it would produce like different various problems if you had a diet that was too high in calcium. Now, I don't know that that hasn't been contradicted 7 times since then, but just I'm just putting that out there just to know, just to let you know that there was a study at some point that said that.
Yeah, that was quite a long time ago too
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we read that. I remember that. And then uh, but then again, in my argument for that when that came out was, I mean, I don't know anybody that feeds their tarantulas exclusively mice. Right. So you just feed a tarantula that's skinny. That's once in a while. It was like a treat, and I would never give a spider that's really fat, a big fat juicy mouse pup or anything like that. So for me, it was just like a treat kind of thing.
Right. I was just putting that out there just to let people know that there
Oh,
was
right, yeah.
something, yeah,
We
that
definitely
said that.
should.
Yeah. So don't know if it's still, you know,
This is going to be a fun one to edit.
have fun.
Okay, so now we're gonna do our unhelpful guide today,
I
which
hope
is
it's
gonna
very
be
unhelpful.
Chilobrachys fimbriatus, which is actually one of my favorite spiders. So it's the one that got me into Chilobrachys. It's the first one I had. And I'd also like to do a shout out to Colby. He's a listener, and we had a transaction earlier in the month, and he enjoys the show. So I thought I'd give him a shout out. And that's why we're doing Chilobrachys fimbriatus, actually, is because yeah, that's his favorite species. So, or his favorite genus is Chilobrachys. Chilobrachys fimbriatus.
There we go, Chilobrachys fimbriatus.
Family
uh,
name, Theraphosidae.
and it's
Common
do
name,
we? Yeah, I was about to say, do we actually do common names? But Indian violet is what I hear most.
yeah,
Um,
Indian violet usually.
I guess it was first described by Reginald. I don't know if is that Innis or Ines. I think
Oh,
Innis
I don't know. I don't even see that on my.
in 1899.
And it's an old world and a terrestrial burrower,
Easy for you to say.
right? And they're native to India.
Yeah.
They get about 6 inches long, max size.
And as far as care, I'd say, I mean, they're pretty straightforward as far as burrowers go. They burrow a web. They web a lot.
Yeah, they burrow and they web above the burrow. So
Yep.
they have a web house with a basement, basically. Yeah. Yeah, they get about 6 inches. They grow pretty fast. They do not have urticating hairs.
No, they have
Their
very
diet's the
urticating
normal
fangs.
stuff.
They have urticating fangs, though.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, they're pretty darn aggressive. They like to be left alone.
Wait,
For
you
sure.
can't say aggressive. It's defensive.
Oh, it's defensive. All right, it's defensive. And
Oh.
what would you say the care level is on that for or to keep her level?
Um, I was just trying to think about that. Honestly, I would say as far as ease of care and everything, you're not gonna, it's not just gonna keel over on you for because you sneeze on it, but just the speed and the defensiveness that they have. Um, I'd have to say I'd probably have to go with like, straight Jedi. I mean, I don't think you have to be a master, but
No, no, but you should have some experience because it's
yeah.
a aggressive slash defensive
Yeah.
spider. So
And it's fast. They're fast.
yeah, I mean they're fast. They'll come at you and they can
Very
really
beautiful.
move. But they're
Very
not
beautiful spider though.
good looking spider, man. Nice purple two-tone like violet purple kind of colors to them. Good looking spider.
Yeah, I think they got overshadowed by some of the blue things that came out afterwards that were. But honestly, I think it's one of the I still think it's one of the prettiest ones though.
Yeah, they were real popular back in the day. But they kind of all the new blue stuff that's been out and stuff. They kind of get I don't know. I think they're a little underrated, but it's still a
Yeah.
popular spider though. Definitely a
Yeah.
popular spider. Chilobrachys kind of come and go as far as popularity.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, but yeah, they're a fun species to keep.
I have and I have never successfully bred them, but I believe you have.
Yes, I've bred them a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they'll go
So
down
how
into
was
the
that?
burrow with their egg
How
sac, and
was it?
you'll never see them suckers.
How was the breeding as far as the mating process? How are the females to the males? Was fill us in, give
Males
us the deets.
males are real small.
Mhm.
Uh, if she's set up in a nice burrow or at least has a real nice elaborate web going on, you can pop a male in there and they'll do their little dance and draw them out, and then the male will go down in the hole with the girl and do the deed, and then generally come booking out pretty fast when
Okay.
he's done. Um,
Did he last long as far as afterwards? I mean, what's the longevity like for the males?
Oh, males are small and weak and spindly, and yeah, you got to use them pretty quickly because they go downhill pretty fast. So
Okay.
they don't last long. So if you get a mature male, you want to use them right away. They're real little. They're usually a couple of inches and inch and a half to 3 inches, I guess, but it's all legs.
And is this a species that's commonly available and globally in the hobby?
Yeah, they're one of the main staples, I think,
Mhm.
because of their color and whatnot. Pretty easily available. Although I haven't gone looking for them recently.
Neither have I.
But I don't know. It's a common name you still see around. I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to find them. All right.
Anything else you'd like to add about them?
I don't think so. The cool spider. You should try it out. I enjoy them.
Two thumbs up. All
Right. We both give a thumbs up.
right.
Yeah, so I think that's it for today.
All right.
Got this another one in the can. We'll get it out as soon as we can. Okay, so I'm Brian,
And John,
and this is the
this
way.
is the way.
What do you say?